Welcome to the Flora Sage Podcast, a place where we help you create a life you're excited about. Welcome to another Walk and Talk episode here on the podcast. And today, I want you to think about a time when you felt out of place. Let's just say that you were at a super expensive resort, or you went to a really fancy restaurant, or you went to a really fancy store. And you just felt at home. You were like, oh my gosh, like the vibe, the energy, just everything about it, the color, the smells, the sounds, like everything about wherever it is that you were at felt like heaven. It felt so perfect. And for an instant, you were like, yes, I feel at home. And then maybe you saw someone that maybe looked at you differently, or maybe you saw someone and they were wearing different clothes than you were, and you instantly felt out of place. You instantly felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm a fraud, I'm a stranger, I don't belong here. All the bullshit stories that we tell ourselves when we feel that type of energy. Think about how you felt when no one was observing you, when you were just in your happy space. In that place. Like I said, this could be at a resort, this could be at a cool fancy restaurant, a cool store. It just could even be in like a neighborhood that is different than the neighborhood that you currently live in. It could be in a town, it could be when you were on vacation, but you just felt at home and you felt good. And then something came in. Judgment, ego came in and made you feel out of place. Made you question how or why you were even there. And reminded you of who you are and put you back in your place, quote unquote. So I want to share with you a massive aha moment that I had with a coach of mine. And I want to share with you this aha moment because I think I'm hoping it's going to create an aha moment for you. To set the stage, I was working with my coach about money stuff and about just all the money bullshit that tends to go through our brains when we try to up level and go to that next level, or even just try to get out of the level that we're at, or even just even make peace with the level that we're at. And we have all these ego stories, all these things that, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, all the things about, worthiness, deservability, all that jazz. And one of the things that I shared with her is, who am I? At my best, at my most elite self, who am I? And who do I hang out with? Who are my friends? And so I shared with her, I brainstormed this list and I'm like, these are my people. This is who I am. This is how I conduct myself. And then when I broke down those places that like my most favorite places, because I'm like, these are the most favorite places I love to go to and why. And a lot of them are high-end places. A lot of them are like those high-end resorts, the fancy restaurants, the fancy stores, And I feel at home there. One of the things also is throughout the years, I have had and still have a lot of friends that are 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneurs. And the energy that they hold it feels like home. They have the standards that I have. Like 99% of them, if not all of them, have the big house, the big cars, the extra vacation homes, like all the things. For myself, I prefer simple. Like I'm literally downsizing into a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in a resort style community, but nonetheless, it is very small. I have a car that's paid for, that I have no desire to upgrade. I have no desire to get the flashy stuff. I literally wear things until they have holes in them because I'm very much a minimalist and a simplest in every shape way and form in my life. And so I always felt this incongruence in, okay, these are my friends and this is me. And I was always judging myself, thinking I didn't belong because I don't have the big giant house. I don't have the latest car. I don't have the latest Chanel bag and yada yada. But the truth be told is I don't want any of that stuff. What was my aha moment? Like attracts like. Your vibe attracts your tribe. My people are high level entrepreneurs. They're high vibe people. They are people that are wealthy in more than one sense. They're not just monetarily wealthy. They are wealthy in their relationships, in their spiritual practice, in their standards. They have high standards. In their cleanliness. Like picture your dream home. I bet it's not filled with clutter. That's from Joshua Becker. All across the board. Looking at these things, I realized I literally was stopped in my tracks because for literally my entire life, I was seeing this opulence, feeling at home in the opulence, and thinking I didn't belong because I preferred minimalistic and very simple, which is almost the opposite of opulence. And when I realized, wait a minute, if you strip away all of the stuff and just go to the essence of the person, the essence of who they are, their standards, their vibrational energy, their mindset, we're the same. So I am in good company. I do belong. I'm not an outsider. I am not one of those random ass people that just happen to come into this restaurant. I am not just some random ass person that just happened to come into this store. I am worthy. I deserve it. I'm here. I belong. I belong here. All the material stuff is just material stuff. Having a $3,000 Chanel bag means I now have a $3,000 Chanel bag versus having $3,000 in the bank. And I would rather have the $3,000 in the bank than have the Chanel bag because the Chanel bag, I have no desire for it. I could spend $5 million on a home, but I don't want that. I would rather have $5 million in an investment account, earning interest and dividends. Just because your ego is giving you some bullshit story doesn't mean it's true. If you vibe with a certain type of people, but your material possessions do not match, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. What matters is your vibration. What matters is your energetic match to that set of standards, to that type of person. But if you have been struggling with feeling like you fit in, and you're struggling with that whole materialistic side of things because a lot of my audience likes the simpler things in life. A lot of my audience likes the minimalistic thing. And they're not really drawn to the big house, the cars, all the things. You really truly desire that simpler life. But you resonate more with hanging out with these super high vibe, opulent, very wealthy people. You belong. You belong. You are the same. When you know that you have those high standards, when you know that you desire the finer things in life, when you feel most at home with those high level, high vibe people, but you choose to not have the opulence, you choose to consciously not have the materialistic stuff, you're still the same. So don't let anybody poo-poo that. Don't let anybody make you feel less than because you don't drive a Mercedes or because you don't have a 10,000 square foot house or because you don't have a, extra home in Barbados. You prefer having more money in your investment accounts or in your bank account. That's okay. Read The Everyday Millionaire. Read The Millionaire Next Door. Hopefully that will help you see most high-level people aren't super flashy. Most of them drive used cars that are paid for, or older cars that are paid for. Most of them wear regular clothes. Most of them, you would never know their wealth. There was a book that I read called The Psychology of Money, and it talked about this gentleman who was a janitor, I believe. And when he died, he made just a regular, meager living according to society. He lived in a very small house. He just did his regular, everyday things. But when he passed away, he had over $8 million that he donated. $8 million. And nobody knew. They're like, where the hell did he get all this money? He saved. He invested. He had compounding interest. He had dividends. So don't let appearances fool you. Don't let your ego trick you into thinking and having you believe that you don't belong. Because cash spent, it's spent. Unless it's spent on an asset, then that's a good investment. It's okay to not have the opulence. It's okay to not have those materialistic things. Like attracts like. So pay attention to who your tribe is, where you feel the most at home. And I want you to say to yourself, I belong here. I belong here. I belong here. Like attracts like. And if you feel at home in those places that your ego mind makes you feel or makes you think it's too much, it's too fancy, it's too something, tell your ego to shut the hell up, okay? Because you belong. For those of you who hear this, hear it. This is going to rock your world. And I tell you, when I discovered this with my coach, I was shook. I literally was bawling and was like, yes. I'm like, wait a minute. I am them. I am that person. Like attracts like. That is why I feel at home. Just because I don't want the fancy house and the cars and all that bullshit. It's not bullshit. I mean, if you want it, yay, good for you. But I don't want to clean it. I don't want to pay somebody to clean it. I would rather have a very small home that's spacious and cute and just have money in the bank. So when I want to travel, I go travel. I'm out. I'm good. And yes, people that have big houses, I'm sure they can go travel and all this other stuff too. But that feels more in alignment for me. And this is one of the reasons why it's so important to get clear on what your dream life really is. Because your ego mind is going to tell you some bullshit story about what you think you want to or need to have. And so that's what you're striving for, and you're striving for something that you don't really want. That's why you're not getting it. That's why you're not getting it. So I'm actually going to pull out my book, and I'm going to share with you the chapter where I talk about your dream life. Okay, it's chapter 11, page 101. So if you have my book, chapter 11, go read it, soak it in, and really do some journaling, really do some soul searching about this. Because this tripped me up for so fucking long, and it was literally right in my face. It was literally like, if it was a snake, it would have bit me, you guys. Oh my gosh. I was like, holy shit, like attracts like. I belong here. Just because the outward isn't the same doesn't mean I don't have for those of you who work with me know that I have very high standards. I don't put up with bullshit. I don't put up with less than. Nope. I have very, very high standards. I have high standards with my relationships, with my friendships, with my mentors, with my friends, with my advisors. I love the finer things in life. I would rather go without, I went without a table for 9 months, and I saved, and I got this beautiful West Elm table, and it came in all the different pieces. So I got the bench came in first, and then the table, and then the chairs, and then they replaced the table because it was damaged, and then I got this glass table topper. It was a very expensive table, but I wanted what I wanted. I wanted something that when I sat down at it, I felt that opulence. Even though I live in a very simple space, I wanted what was in there to be highly curated, highly unique to me and my style. And I searched high and low, and when I found it, I'm like, okay, this is how much it is, and I saved. I budgeted. This is when I was a single mom raising 2 teenage boys and then had 2 other ones living in the house. that had not so good homes. And I gave myself permission to honor what I wanted and not settle for less than. And I got it. And every time I sit down at that table, I feel opulent, even though I don't have the big flashy whatever. Same with paint color, same with sheets and bedding and all the things. There are certain things I will never skimp with money on. Never. I will never skimp on. Like, I always get the best tires possible for my car. Like, I get the highest whatever. Yes. So it's like, think about your standards that you have. And I have several podcasts here on this podcast about standards. But look at your vibe. Look at where you feel the most at home. And if your ego is telling you some bullshit story that you don't belong, tell your ego to shut the hell up and remind yourself, like attracts like. I truly belong here. And it's okay if outward appearances don't match. It's the inside that counts. It's that vibrational match that counts. So I hope this serves you today. If you would like a complimentary 1-degree life assessment, I do have some available. Click the link in the show notes. Book a session. Let's talk. All right? Let me support you and coach you in and during our session. All right. I love you. I hope this serves you. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. All links mentioned are in today's show notes.